Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 11th inning stretch, our podcast number 6, week in review. Today is May 5th. So we'll start off with league news as usual. Alex, the only thing I have really written down is D. Gordon's suspension. Ironically, it came last week, the night. Last week that we talked about Chris Colabello's suspension on Thursday night, and then ironically enough, at about 12:30 Friday morning, D. Gordon's suspension came out. So we just missed it, but here we are. D. Gordon now suspended for 80 games.
Yeah, and it shows me two things. The one is he gave the same plea that Colabello did, that he wasn't sure how it got in him, but he's willing to take the suspension. And that's okay with me, knowing that you did wrong, so you do that. But it also shows you that people that take PEDs don't have to be the biggest guys in the world. I know he's a speedster and everything, but last time I checked, there's muscles in your legs. Mm-hmm. So, it just proves that you don't just look at the biggest guys in the world. Make sure you test everybody. You look at everybody equally.
Right. Yeah, you always think of these PED guys as these big, burly, jacked, ripped guys. D. Gordon's a little shrimp compared to these other guys. Mark McGwire was your stereotypical PED user, or Barry Bonds or whoever, and then D. Gordon's maybe half their size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then also with that suspension, there's been news going around that there's going to be a list, and I repeat, list of other people with handing down PED suspensions. These are PED tests that were taken, I believe, in spring training. And what's happening is all the people on the list are going through an appeals process, so that's why it's taken so long. But yeah, from what I've heard, there's supposed to be a list coming out of other people being suspensions handed down.
And you wonder, well, one, it'll be interesting to see if there's any Cardinals on the list. But two, how big are these names? Are we talking like Bryce Harper big, or like Chris Colabello big?
Exactly. I honestly think would be a turning point. Not that I wish this on any of them, but if there's any Cubs players on there, not saying that they did. I'm just saying it can change an entire race super quick if you lose one of those key players,
It's same with the Cardinals and same with the Pirates.
Exactly.
Because, like we've said, the team who beats each other up the most, Cardinals, Pirates, and Cubs, is probably going to win the division. And if you lose a key player, that can turn the tables pretty quick.
Exactly. And, like I said, I wasn't trying to make it seem like just the Cubs, but they're in first place now, so everybody looks at them. And if the Cubs have a person on there, that can change the race super quick.
Yeah, I agree completely. I want to get to your fantasy player of the week. I'll let you go first.
Mine's going to be a guy that that the Cardinals just played against. I was going to do him a couple weeks ago, but nothing really came of it. Is Ryan Howard. He's putting together a pretty good season. I think he has 6 home runs so far. He's not going to be your 30-100 guy, I don't think, ever again. But if he can hit you 20, 25, something like that, I think the Phillies would be in pretty good shape.
That I agree. That's yeah. And he's got to hit at least 250, 260 too. Because if he's pulling like a Chris Carter and he's hitting 200, 210, or Chris Davis, 200 batting average and 40 home runs, you're kind of stuck as a fantasy player, because do you want the home runs or do you want to lose the average? So anyway, my player, I don't really have a big one, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Villar. He's the third baseman and shortstop from the Brewers. He's gotten picked up in a ton of Yahoo leagues lately. He's a pretty good source of stolen bases. He has 8 on the season so far. His 264 batting average isn't anything to write home about. But if you need stolen bases, he's been getting playing time mostly every day. No, sorry, he has been getting playing time every day. So if you do need stolen bases, that should be a place to look, considering he's only owned in about 35% of leagues. So just one of those options.
And then one quick thing, a notable mention on this, he was tied with Ryan Howard. If you guys are looking for a guy that's going to hit consistently every day, who's going to play every day, is, again, a guy from the Phillies, Odubel Herrera.
I was going to mention him, actually.
I don't know what happened, but this guy is leading. I don't remember what stat it is, but he's leading the league right now and is on a historic run right now. The guy's just raking. He's hitting on base. He's just doing everything.
Last night against the Cardinals.
Exactly. He's just doing everything that you want almost in a fantasy player. So if he's available, like I said, Paul's more the person that knows if they're available or not. But if he's available and you need somebody, you need an outfielder, Odubel Herrera is a pretty good pickup.
Moving over to Cardinals news now. We had talked about in our preview for the Phillies that Tommy Pham is going on a rehab assignment. He started his rehab assignment May 4th, yesterday. So the question is, who's going to get dropped down?
I want you to start because mine's kind of might be controversial. I don't really know. But
here's the thing. I don't know why Matt Bowman is on the team. I've never been a huge fan of him. I prefer Sam Tuivailala from Memphis. I don't know why he's not in the bullpen. You could drop Matt Bowman down, but then you're without one more bullpen guy, and I can understand that could cause some problems. I don't think you can drop Jeremy Hazelbaker. Randall Grichuk, he's not playing well, but you can't drop him. Colton Wong, he's not playing well, but you can't drop him. And he's signed that 5-year contract. You definitely can't drop him. Eric Fryer, you need a backup catcher while Brian Payne is out. Gosh, I don't know. I would like to say Matt Bowman, but you can't necessarily drop a bullpen guy without picking a guy back up down in Memphis. And it can't be Jeremy Hazelbaker. And I mean, I've never been a big fan of Matt Adams, and you haven't either. This show has sort of been a big Matt Adams hate fest in some sense. But I'm not sure you can drop him down either. So I don't know.
Well, and it's not that we've been a hate fest. It's just, we're seeing like everybody else is seeing. He just needs to get better. He's at the highest level he can go. He can't get any higher, so why not try to, perfect your craft? But my thing, I think, is if Pham comes back, cut Tejada completely.
That's a good point. I actually didn't think of him. Yeah.
My big thing is, so like I said in the podcast or our preview, I don't remember which one it was, but I went to the game on Saturday. And defense was a huge issue in that game.
It was.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't good. We'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
It started off with a routine double play that Tejada actually fielded and threw to Wong. And Wong's problem wasn't catching the ball, receiving it. He was transferring it to his hand. It just fell out. But then Ruben Tejada's at shortstop and a routine ground ball, and he's rushing himself and he drops it. I don't know. I understand that the Cardinals needed a shortstop, but Aledmus Diaz right now is killing everything.
Yeah, there's no reason to not have him in your starting lineup day in and day out.
Exactly. So I just don't understand the need for Ruben Tejada, to be honest with you. He'll be picked up by another team for sure. He's a consistent player for most of the time. He's got a track record. The Cardinals just don't need him is the problem.
So who would be your backup shortstop then? Would it be, I guess, Jerko?
It would have to be Jerko. Jerko would be your backup shortstop and second baseman. Unless you can figure out a way. If you could cut Tejada, drop Bowman, and pick up Greg Garcia again. But like you said, you lose a bullpen arm. And with the way that Mike Leake's been throwing, only going 4 or 5 innings, you kind of need as much bullpen help as possible.
Yeah, and we had said this in the preview as well, but Mike Leake has been terrible to start the year. He signed that contract, fairly large contract, not huge, but not small. And he hasn't performed anything. So say he continues to underperform, and he goes the next 4 or 5 starts just doing what he's doing now, and not pitching terribly, but he's not pitching well, and he's not pitching to what you paid him. What do you do? Do you throw him in the bullpen? Do you bench him?
Honestly, what I would do if I was the Cardinals is I don't know if you can do it, but I would send him down to AAA, let him get a couple starts, build his confidence back up. Because, like I heard on the Kevin Wheeler show this morning, actually on my way to campus, he's not a stuff guy. He's never been a stuff guy. He's a feel guy. So if his feel is off, that's when the games go bad. So if you can send him down, get him a couple starts, not rehab starts, just a couple starts just to build his confidence up, get the feel for his pitches. I don't care if you have Tyler Lyons start those games, or if you just go with a 4-man rotation. I feel like that's put a lot of stress on people. But either way you look at it, but he's got to build his confidence back up, and I feel like that's the biggest problem with him is his confidence is really low, and I just don't know if that's from a new team or what, but I feel like he needs to go down and get some starts underneath his belt down there.
It's kind of ironic that the thing that Cardinals paid him to do, to pitch, he hasn't been doing well at. He's a pretty good hitter, we all know that, and he's been playing pretty good defense when it comes to not pitching. But the one thing the Cardinals paid him to do, he hasn't done. I find that to be kind of ironic that he's a better hitter and a fielder than he is a pitcher, and he's getting paid to pitch. But it's also kind of interesting to note that Alex Reyes, if he wasn't on his suspension, I could see him coming up, taking his spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't say take his spot for the whole year if that was the case. No. I feel like it would be to take his spot for a couple starts.
Right, because we pay Leak too much to just not pitch. That's what I'd meant is Reyes could start 2 or 3 times.
Exactly, and I'm not even if you don't send him down, if you just keep Mike Leake on the roster and he's throwing, if you get like off days or if he goes down, he needs to pitch in an atmosphere where he feels like he can dominate everyone, and I feel like the best case for that is AAA, because you don't want to send him down to AA because then he's way off everything. You can make a lot more mistakes and get away with it. But yeah, I just don't. He's one of those track record guys again. He's got a past. You know what he's capable of doing. I think it'll come around eventually. But right now, the way it's looking is you have Martinez pitching like your 1. You got Waka pitching like a 2. Jaime's your 3. Wainwright's your 4. And Leake's your 5. And those 2 guys are supposed to be 1 and 3, and they're not.
Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of funny that if Game 1 of the playoffs started today, and I know it's only May 5th, but Martinez would be your number 1, and it wouldn't be that close. Wainwright is the highest. I'm not sure. Is he the highest paid player on the Cardinals, or is that like Halladay or Molina?
He's definitely the highest paid pitcher, I believe. But
okay, then we'll say he's the highest paid pitcher, but he's not playing like it. And Adam Wainwright's a big competitor, and we know he's probably not going to stay in this funk the entire season.
So he's 2 and 3 now. So I mean, he's getting out of it.
He's slowly started to pitch better. His first couple starts were pretty atrocious, and since then he's been doing okay. And it's kind of funny how his hitting has been better than his pitching. But he's not going to do this the entire season, and you would hope Mike Leake isn't either.
Yeah, man, it's just a lot. That's why I'm not a GM. These are a lot of hard decisions to make. John Mozeliak, usually out of the chances he gets, is right most of the time. He's a genius. I have complete trust in John Mozeliak, what he's going to do with the Cardinals. It's just going to be hard. Obviously, 2 goons like us trying to say what we think would happen probably not even come close. So, they're just probably going to
Yeah,
who knows? They might send down Molina for something. We never know.
There's a reason we don't get paid.
Exactly. There's a reason that our opinions really don't matter to anybody.
Continuing on this, our opinions don't mean crap to anybody. You had proposed a question to me before the show started that you wanted to withhold and get my reaction live. So I do ask, what is your question? To put me on the spot.
Okay, so with what's been going on and with the shift and everything, Matt Adams has now, for some odd reason, decided that he's going to hit. And I don't know if he just woke up one morning, you know what, I'm tired of striking out and looking like a fool. It's time to start hitting. He got a bunt down, which was crazy. He hit I believe, an opposite field home run too, I believe. So my question to you is Matt Adams finally coming around?
I'm not going to say it's coming around. I'm going to say it's a small sample size. Hitters and pitchers and everybody has phases. I've seen enough Matt Adams the past couple years to know that he generally cannot hit a shift, generally. So to see him hitting one, I would need to see that for at least half a season, because maybe it was the pitcher. Maybe it was the pitcher making a mistake more than it was Adams capitalizing on something.
But the thing is the pitcher made 2 mistakes. Is that what you're? Because he got a bunt down the same side he hit the home run to.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I'm just, I agree with you. You need at least a season or a half a season to figure it out. God, I've seen so much of Matt Adams that it almost makes me sick watching him fly out.
Me too, and that's why, in this sense, I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Is because I've seen him for the last 2 or 3 years be a bump on a log when it comes to offense, because the opposing team just puts on the shift, and he's basically an automatic out. So good for him for doing it the past 3 or 4 or 5 games, past week. But I'll believe it when I see it. So if he continues to do it, good for him. I will hop on board, and I'll fully support him. But until then, I've seen enough of him to know that this probably isn't going to last a whole lot of time.
I totally agreeing. That's what makes this so much fun. We get to ask the harder questions, obviously. I just, for his sake, I really hope that he can come around. I remember a couple of seasons ago, the city got behind him a lot and, cherished him and the way he was hitting. I hope that they can do that again because he becomes good, not because he gets a base hit here once in a while and, doesn't do what he's supposed to.
I want to quickly talk about the next week or so. I think, is it next week the Cardinals go on that West Coast trip, the Dodgers and the Angels?
I do not know. I can look just real fast for you.
I'm pulling up their schedule right now. But I am so curious to yeah, it is next week. They got 3 against Pittsburgh this weekend, and then they go on a little West Coast swing again. 3 at the Angels and 3 at the Dodgers. So they'll spend about a week in LA. I was really upset when it was announced that the Angels aren't going to be in St. Louis because, the way that the interleague schedules work is that, 3 years ago when the Cardinals played the Angels, they were out in Los Angeles. So naturally, the Angels would come here next time. Well, here we are in 2016, and the Angels didn't come here. So I want to propose a quick question to you. Say the Angels did come here now, and Albert Pujols came to bat. I would assume you would cheer or you would applaud
Yeah, I would think, when he left, it kind of hurt me. It was like a team, an organization gave him so much, and for him just to kind of walk away from it was kind of shitty, to be honest. But then if you look at it, it's just like everybody else. I know it's a team sport, but when the season's over, it's looking out for number one. He's got a family, he's got kids, and putting them in the best financial stability possible is what he was looking out for. And I would tell you this: I've never been in his position. Not saying I would or wouldn't, but there's a good chance I'd have taken the money too. You know, you gotta have money in this world to make things happen. So.
Although Pujols, I mean, he has plenty of it. I don't think it's. He made so much money in St. Louis off of endorsements and through the Cardinals. I'm not necessarily gonna take the bait that it was putting his family in the best financial place, because he was already in the best financial place.
Well, and he also came out and said when he left that it was because his wife and kids wanted somewhere that was, the majority of the time warm.
Probably, that's true.
So when LA comes calling, you really don't deny it. But
you don't pass up LA,
even
right?
then, and like you said, he had financial stability. But when have you ever heard anybody say, I got enough money? No one's ever said that.
True.
Because you can never have too much money.
True.
The more you have, the better off you are. And I feel like that's, maybe not for just his wife and him or his kids, but maybe grandkids and great-grandkids are going to be set somewhere down in their life because he made hundreds of millions of dollars. And I can't doubt him for that. I feel, I would do the same, I think, to make as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time. Granted, it was 10 years for like $300 million.
And he's batting 180 now, so I mean,
it's just, I would cheer because no matter where he's at, he'll always be remembered as a Cardinal. I feel like even though he will be playing 10 years in Anaheim, he will be a Cardinal. I think retire as a Cardinal. But yeah, and honestly, the Cardinals did mess up with not paying him. I mean, look where they're at. They got out of that huge contract, and we're not in a financial problem.
And the Angels, let's throw this stat out there. Since the Cardinals traded Pujols, they've won 20, maybe 25 playoff games.
They didn't trade Pujols
when the Cardinals got rid of Pujols, or when Pujols signed with the Angels. My bad.
Sweet Jesus, man, what are you doing? Losing all credibility for the show.
That'll go on the bloopers video. So when the Angels signed Pujols, there we go. They've won 0 playoff games. That just goes to show what the Cardinals have done. And here's my thing on Pujols. I'm going to make this quick. Time heals wounds and winning heals wounds. Time in this sense that if the Angels came to play the Cardinals the year after Pujols signed with them, they'd probably boo him. And I don't blame them. I probably would too, because those wounds are still fresh. But a couple years down the line, when the Cardinals have gotten to a World Series and have appeared in the playoffs a bunch, there's no need to boo them because we are winning. They aren't. And that's the thing about winning heals wounds. We've gotten to a World Series and we've done all this crap since 2011, 2012, and the Angels haven't. Why would we boo him? So the only answer would be to applaud him, would be to thank him for his service here.
Exactly. And this goes back to the whole conversation of who's got the best fans in baseball. You're going to talk to a lot of Cardinal fans who think that they know everything and, want to basically say shit on Pujols and forget him and what he did. But, he had a lot of winning happen here, and forgetting what he did would mean forgetting a lot of, the 2 championships we had and a lot of the playoff runs. So I commend him on his services, and I thank him very much for what he did for the city of St. Louis. And he's still active here in the city of St. Louis. So, it's not like he's left completely, but yeah, I'd cheer him for sure.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that point. Finally, I want to. I proposed a topic to you before we started because we were going to run somewhat low on information. Um, was I want to get your top five ballparks in no order because it's kind of hard to rank it in order, and your bottom five ballparks.
Okay.
So I will let you start on the bottom five. I'll do my bottom five, and then we'll both do our top.
Okay, that's fine. These are the ones that I can remember. I've only been to Busch Stadium and I've been to Cincinnati. Those are the only two I've ever been to. So these are just the ones that I can think of that I've seen on TV. But my bottom five would have to be Rockies, just because it's a bland stadium. I mean, there's nothing special. The Mets, the A's, Diamondbacks, and White Sox. They're just a bunch of stadiums that are just meh.
I'm surprised you said the Mets because the Mets seem like this. I mean, theirs is brand new.
It's brand new, but it's not. It's nothing like special. There's nothing.
Right.
It's nothing's like when people take trips to go to ballparks. No one's like, hey, let's go to the Mets Stadium. Woohoo!
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're gonna go to Yankee Stadium and forget the Mets.
Right.
It's just one of those ones that is just. I mean, all the ones I just mentioned are kind of just, I mean, Diamondbacks is probably closer to the top five just because of the pool and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm still not one of the people like, hey, let's go to the Diamondback Stadium. You know what I'm saying? And
I am shocked. I am shocked that you didn't say Tampa Bay or Atlanta.
You'll be kind of surprised in my top five, I think, just who's in there. And like I just stated, I'm watching the Carl game, and Matt Adams just made an error. Well, it's a pick. The ball was in the dirt. I don't know if the error goes on the shortstop or if the error goes on the first baseman, but both of them messed up, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, the stadiums that I have are just, there's nothing that's driving people to go there. Even the Mets, just because they were the champions, we're just talking stadium, the way they look. We're not talking about the team.
Right, yeah, of course. The team means literally nothing in this sense.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, they're just a bunch of stadiums.
I've been to a decent amount of ballparks around, not a whole ton. I've been to St. Louis, but both Chicago's, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Atlanta, and Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. So my bottom five would be Atlanta, Chicago, White Sox, Anaheim, Oakland, and probably Arizona. Tampa Bay. Atlanta is boring. And to add on to it, the team is terrible, so you can't go to see the ballpark or the team. Thus, is why nobody goes to their games. The White Sox is boring, but if they had a good team, I feel like people would show up. Oakland is just an absolute godforsaken rat hole. Tampa Bay isn't anything special. We all know that. So yeah, that's my bottom five. Atlanta's getting a new ballpark. Oakland, there's been talk about it. Tampa Bay, that they need one. So hopefully that list will change. But I want to get your top five.
All right. So my top five are going to be Busch Stadium.
Of course.
Obviously.
No bias in that.
No, none whatsoever. The Astro Stadium, Fenway, the Blue Jay Stadium, and Tropicana Field in Tampa Bay, Florida.
No Wrigley Field?
Nah. I mean, I would say my two notable mentions that probably just missed it would be Miami and Wrigley.
No, why in the hell is Tampa Bay in your top five? I want to hear your explanation for this.
I always love Tropicana Field. I don't know what it is about it. It's like I like the turf fields. I like the indoor stadiums. The funny thing is usually where there's an indoor stadium, they don't need it, and where places that need an indoor stadium don't have it.
Yeah, take like Minnesota or something. They Minnesota and Colorado could probably use the indoor fields. Yeah, they don't have it.
Exactly. Like Houston doesn't need one.
Tampa Bay does not need one.
Well, Tampa Bay might need one. It rains a lot in Florida.
Arizona does not need one.
Arizona doesn't need one. But yeah, I mean, I've always liked the Blue Jays. I haven't watched a Blue Jays game, but I believe they changed it now, and their whole infield is dirt. I believe that's.
I'm not sure. I think they were talking about it. Let me look it up. Actually, I'm not sure
because I definitely liked it a lot more. I still like it, but if they changed it, I would probably take Wrigley over it because I definitely
have changed it. It looks like I think yeah.
Okay, well then I'm going to take that one out then, and I'm going to put in the Wrigley.
Okay, good. I was going to say you better have there.
Because I liked the Blue Jays one when it was the grass around. It just looked a lot cooler. I still like the Blue Jay Stadium, so putting Wrigley in, two notable mentions I still have are Miami and Toronto that just missed it. You can't doubt Miami. Miami's just got so much crap going around in the ballpark that, I mean, looks like Cinco de Mayo in there every single day.
Yeah.
Matt Carpenter with a base hit. Maybe a double. Got him a double. So, yeah, I mean, that's just my top five. I really like the Astro Stadium.
That is a cool stadium. Why. Yeah.
I just really do. Fenway, I love the Big Green Monster. The Red Sox are my second favorite team. I'd love to go to Fenway. And then Busch, obviously. I mean, I've never been to Busch Stadium, but
no, you've only been there a couple dozen times at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that place is a dump. I'm gonna go Wrigley, PNC, Pittsburgh, Fenway. Gosh, I don't know. There's a lot of good ones. I don't know. I'll go Dodger Stadium. There's my fourth, and then my fifth. I'll go with Houston. Wrigley, I think, is my number one because it's Wrigley. You can't deny that. That place is awesome, and the scoreboards. Say what you will about them. Maybe you agree or don't agree that they should be there, but I think it's a really nice addition. Fenway, obviously you can't take that one away either. Houston, like you said, is just a really cool ballpark. I love that train they have in the outfield. Whenever somebody hits a home run. Dodger Stadium, that's a classic. Just seems like a beautiful place to be on a nice summer night. You know who I missed was AT&T. They're probably in my honorable mention. I would love to go to a ballpark or to a ball game there. Yeah, that's my top five. I mean, it's just fascinating how you have Tropicana in your top five, and I have Tropicana in my bottom five.
I'm sorry. This play on here just makes me want to throw my TV out of the window.
What happened now?
So Carpenter was on second, got a double. Piscotty came up and hit a little dribbler back to the pitcher, and for some odd reason, Matt Carpenter decided he was thinking about taking off for third, and the pitcher threw the second. Freddie Galvis tagged him, and then threw over to first base for the double play. So now there's no runners on with 2 outs.
It's the bottom of the first?
Bottom of the first. I understand it's the first inning, but that play makes me want to shoot somebody.
No, and that play can come back to bite you later on, because when you lose by 1, well, there's your 1 run on second with what, nobody out nobody out.
Yeah, exactly. This is what me and my buddy were talking about over PlayStation last night. This is where when you miss one of your main coaches, this is what happens. Jose Oquendo leaves, and Brandon Moss just hit a home run, which should have been a 2-run shot.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway, Jose Oquendo's gone, and now base running's completely shit. Our fielding is terrible.
Completely shit, yeah.
I just don't understand the stupidity in that play. Matt Carpenter needs to pull his head out of his ass and play like the Matt Carpenter everybody knows. It should be 2-0, and now it's 1-0.
Oh, they actually got a run?
Yeah, Brandon Moss just hit a home run.
Oh, wow. I'm not watching the game because I'm up in my room, but wow, I'm gonna get down there and watch it then. Do you have any last notes?
No, I got nothing. like I said, if you're a baseball fan, keep an eye on those other PED suspensions coming down. See which ones affect your team. And then one notable mention I got is the Blues play tonight. They're in the series 2-1 against the Stars. It's been a really awesome playoffs for the Blues in general. But yeah, if you guys tune into that game, they play later on tonight. Cardinals are playing right now. I'm watching the game. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I have too. I guess that'll be it for this week. We'll be back next week at some point, probably next weekend. And our previews will be out as well. The Dodgers and the Angels. Until then, that'll be it. I am Paul Eppy.
I am Alex Schneider.
We are signing off.